This is the new iPad Pro. It's thin, and I mean really thin. The 11-inch iPad Pro comes out at 5.3mm, and the 13-inch iPad Pro is considered to be the thinnest Apple device ever released, at just 5.1mm thick. And until you hold these iPads in your hand, you don't truly appreciate how a device this powerful can be so thin and lightweight. The engineering it's taken to make these is insane, and by comparison, it makes my iPad mini look thick at 6.3mm. Ironically, even the iPad Air is thicker than the Pro now. Talking about power, the new iPads both host Apple's new M4 chip, which should give you 50% more power compared to the previous iPad Pro's M2 chip, and in layman terms, it's the fastest, most advanced standard chip that Apple has ever made. Obviously. The iPad Pros are also the only devices to have this new chip, although I expect they'll start rolling this out across the Apple lineup soon. And that new chip is used to power the iPad Pro's new Tandem OLED screens, which they're calling the Ultra Retina XDR display, a new innovation that Apple unveiled at their iPad event. The move from mini LED to OLED was well overdue, but in typical Apple fashion, they're late to the game but have innovated in their own way. The issue with OLED screens is that they're typically not very bright and also suffer from burn-in, which can happen when you leave the screen on a fixed image and that image actually burns into the screen. So what Apple has done is effectively layered two OLED displays on top of each other in the new iPad Pros, helping maintain screen brightness at 1000 nits and reduce the chance of burn-in. The other benefits of OLED displays are that they provide better contrast, the colors are more vibrant, and the blacks are deeper, which gives you a more accurate color profile. A new feature on the Pros is the ability to opt for a nano texture display glass option, which helps reduce glare and fingerprints. Having seen and used this in person, I'll say this is fairly similar to having a matte screen protector on your screen, but for some reason, Apple's only made this option available on the 1TB and 2TB models. So if you do want it, that means spending at least £600 or $600 more than the base 256GB model. Next to the new screen is the front-facing camera's new position. This is a feature that's been requested for a while, so it's good to see the camera's been moved from the top of the iPad to the longer side, which should give you a more natural viewing angle when you're on a landscape video call. The only downside to moving the camera to the side is that it is in a more prime location to get fingerprints, so be ready to clean your camera every time you want to hop into a video call. Then, above the camera is the space to attach the new Apple Pencil Pro, which I'll be reviewing in another video very soon. Now, the Apple Pencil Pro is actually only compatible with the new iPad Pros and iPad Airs, and the reason for this is that Apple's had to change the position of the magnets inside the iPads to make space for the camera. Now, this seems all too convenient considering Apple could have easily avoided this by just putting the camera on the other side, and not only is it frustrating for users of previous generation iPads that they won't be able to use the new Apple Pencil Pro on their older devices, but it also means that if you're upgrading to a newer iPad, your older second generation Apple Pencil will not be compatible with the newer iPad. So Apple's basically forcing you to buy the Apple Pencil Pro if you want to use an Apple Pencil with the newer iPads. And if you already have the second generation Apple Pencil, I'm not sure spending another £129 or $129 for a slightly improved Apple Pencil is worth the money. On the back, the 10-megapixel ultra-wide camera has been replaced by another sensor, and no one knows what this does. I asked an Apple genius in the store who had to call over another genius, and even after deliberating and checking their internal learning material, they still couldn't tell me for sure what this new sensor was. My guess is that it's to assist with the new adaptive True Tone flash, or it could be something related to the new iPad OS, which is to be announced at next month's WWDC, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. This adaptive True Tone flash could also prove to be quite useful, as it uses AI to help with things like document scanning, which I think could be more useful than the ultra-wide camera they removed that no one really used. Apple also announced a new Magic Keyboard to go with the new iPad Pros, which is now made of aluminium to make it feel more similar to a MacBook keyboard, features a larger glass trackpad with haptic feedback, and finally a function row across the top. There's no doubt that this keyboard is better than the last one and inches the iPad closer to being a MacBook substitute, but at £299 for the 11-inch keyboard and £349 for the 13-inch keyboard, these are very expensive accessories when you consider the base model iPad costs £349 too. And while we're talking about price, The base 11-inch iPad Pro costs £999, whilst the base 13-inch iPad Pro costs £1,299. Now, usually when you buy the larger version of a device, you might get a better screen or a couple more features, but this time round, the only difference between the two sizes is just that, the size. The 11 and 13-inch Pros have the exact same features, so the extra £300 does seem a bit steep for a bigger screen. Before we continue, I wanted to let you know I recently became a brand ambassador for SeatGeek, who are the sponsors of this video. You can get $20 off your first ticket purchase with my code SHIVSSTUDIO at checkout. SeatGeek is a ticket website and app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. They score each ticket from 0 to 10 and color code them green or red so you know if you're getting a good or bad deal. I used them a couple of months ago in New York and picked up some basketball tickets that were rated a 9.4 dark green, so I think I ended up paying half a retail price for these awesome tickets. You can check them out using the link in the description below, and remember to use code SHIVSSTUDIO to get $20 off your first purchase. So, am I upgrading from my iPad mini? Well, it depends. You see, there's no doubt the iPad Pro is better than all the others in every single way, and honestly the thinner form factor and better screen are really tempting. But there are two main reasons why I won't be upgrading yet. The first is the size. Not this way, but this way. I just love the smaller size of the mini. It's so convenient for traveling or writing down notes, and I can hold it securely in one hand, which makes it so easy to use. I'm not an illustrator or doing elaborate drawings, so I don't need the larger canvas, and I find it too fiddly to edit videos using the Final Cut Pro app on the iPad, so I prefer to use my MacBook instead. I think if they made an iPad mini with the new Tandem OLED screen, that would be a very popular device. The second reason is iPad OS. I saw a tweet that described the iPad Pro as driving a Ferrari on a golf course, and I think that's the perfect analogy. It looks amazing, it's powerful, and it's got all this incredible hardware that's been put together in a sleek package using precise engineering. But it's constrained by iPad OS, so it's not able to harness all this power and premium hardware to its full potential. You see, there are very few tasks on the iPad Pro that would actually require the M4 chip to run at full capacity. And to be honest, I don't think any of my daily tasks would require the Pro model over the Mini. Maybe we see some big improvements at next month's WWDC, but until Apple works out a way to make use of all that power, I know which device I'm sticking with. So that's my first impressions of the new iPad Pro. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the iPad in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.